All right, let's dive right in. We're tackling a massive question today. How do huge organizations, we're talking enterprises, actually get artificial intelligence right? Because let's be honest, this isn't just about some cool new tech anymore. For a lot of companies, this is becoming a question of pure survival.
I mean, Mark Cuban really put it bluntly, didn't he? In this age of AI, you either learn how to adapt or you seriously risk becoming obsolete. For any big company out there, the stakes are just incredibly high, and the pressure is on to figure this out, and fast.
And that's the real question, right? How do you avoid it? It's not as simple as just buying some AI tools off the shelf and plugging them in. No way. You need a playbook, a real framework for weaving this technology into the very DNA of your organization. And that's exactly what we're going to break down. So first, let's get one thing crystal clear. AI is an imperative. It is not an option. This isn't just the next passing trend. It's a fundamental shift in how business is done, how value gets created, and, ultimately how companies are going to compete from here on out. So what exactly are we talking about when we say AI? Well, at its core, AI is all about giving machines the ability to do things that, until now, really required a human brain. Stuff like understanding language, recognizing patterns, or even making complex financial forecasts. And here's the real game changer. Think of your standard software like a calculator. It's amazing for problems with fixed, predictable rules. But AI thrives in the messy gray areas. It tackles those complex, real-world problems where there are way too many variables for simple logic. And it turns all that complexity into a massive business opportunity. And that leads to this really critical realization. You don't just add AI to your company. You can't just sprinkle it on top and hope for the best. To really harness its power, you have to become an AI-centric organization. And that's a total transformation, deep down in your culture and your operations. Now, a framework like SAFe, which is really designed for this kind of large-scale change, breaks this whole transformation down into 3 core pillars. It's about empowering your people with AI, it's about building smarter products using AI, and this is absolutely crucial, doing it all responsibly. Okay, so that's the what, but how in the world do you actually do it? Well, it really all comes down to 3 things: getting the right people on board, defining the right processes, and embedding a really strong sense of responsibility in everything you do.
Look, it always starts with people. You can't build AI solutions without AI talent. That means bringing in specialists, for sure. But, and this is just as important, it means upskilling your existing teams. Because if only a few experts understand AI, it just stays stuck in a silo. The real transformation happens when everyone can collaborate and contribute to these AI-driven projects.
And this is a journey, right? It doesn't happen overnight. Most companies start out with one central AI team, kind of like a hub of expertise. But the goal is to evolve beyond that. You want to get to a point where those AI skills are embedded directly into every single product team, making it a native capability, not some separate, walled-off function. Okay, now let's get to the operational engine that makes it all run. It all starts with the fuel: data. AI is totally useless without clean, high-quality, accessible data. And that's where data ops comes in. Think of it like building this pristine, reliable pipeline that sources the absolute best ingredients for your AI models. So once you have your amazing ingredients, you need a kitchen to turn them into a finished product, right? That's MLOps. It's the hardcore engineering discipline of taking a really promising machine learning model out of the lab and reliably deploying it into the real world, making sure it works consistently for your customers every single time. But here's the thing. You're not just cooking one meal, you're running a whole restaurant. As you scale up, you're going to have hundreds of models. ModelOps is like the restaurant management. It provides the governance to oversee the entire lifecycle of every single model, making sure they all stay accurate and effective over time. And finally, in this really fascinating twist, you actually start using AI to manage the restaurant itself. AOOps applies artificial intelligence to your own IT operations, automatic monitoring, predicting problems, and resolving system issues way faster. You're basically using AI to make your entire operation run smoother. It's pretty cool. But, and this is a big but, building this incredibly powerful engine is not without its dangers. This is where a lot of companies get stuck because AI introduces some really unique risks, everything from models that produce biased outcomes to accidental leaks of confidential data. The fear of these risks can completely paralyze an entire AI initiative.
And this is exactly why a framework for responsible AI is non-negotiable. It's built on these three pillars. Trustworthy means it's secure, reliable, accurate. Explainable means you can actually understand why the AI made a certain decision, which is huge for accountability. And human-centric ensures the system is fair, safe, and ethical. Believe me, these aren't just buzzwords. They're the guardrails that allow you to innovate safely.
So, let's say you've done it. You've invested in your people, you've refined your processes, you've committed to being responsible. So what's the payoff? Why go through all this effort? Well, because the value it unlocks is just immense.
A framework like SAFe boils it down to 4 primary payoffs that you're going to see from all this work.
First, you can build way smarter, more intelligent solutions for your customers. Second, you can optimize your own internal processes to deliver that value faster. Third, AI can uncover these deep customer insights that have been hiding in your data all along. And finally, it can augment your entire workforce, making everyone more productive and effective at their jobs. And this brings us to the final critical piece of the puzzle, making sure you're investing in the right AI initiatives. Because in a field this new and exciting, it is incredibly easy to get caught up in all the hype.
So every organization really faces a choice here. On one hand, you can just chase the trends, doing AI because everyone else is. That usually leads to failed projects. On the other hand, you can be deliberate. And that means aligning every single AI project with a clear business goal and focusing on solving a real customer problem.
And SAFe provides a super simple but powerful checklist for this. 1, does this thing actually align with our core strategy? 2, does it solve a real customer problem? 3, are we constantly testing our assumptions early and often? And 4, are we using real data to measure our progress, not just our gut feelings?
At the end of the day, succeeding with AI at enterprise scale isn't magic. It really requires structure, discipline, and a clear playbook. And that's what frameworks like SAFe provide, a proven way to organize your teams, your processes, and your decisions to turn all that AI potential into real, measurable business value.
Which, of course, brings us full circle. The technology is here, the playbooks exist. The only real question left is the one Mark Cuban posed at the very beginning. Is your organization actively building its future with a strategic approach to AI, or is it just kind of waiting around to become a fossil? The choice, really, is yours.